Hey, how's it going? It's Grant
And Shelby.
with the Garden of Eater, and this week we're going to be talking about biofilm. If you're having issues with baby survival rate, maybe you're having some on and off deaths or issues in the aquarium, maybe there's a chance you're having issues with biofilms. So I'm going to approach explaining biofilms and everything like that, and hopefully explain some things, make some things make sense. And then I even learned a couple of things through this research that I plan on sharing on with you guys. And it makes a lot of sense after I read it and went through it. So um, basically, what we're going to be talking about is shrimp don't just live in water. They live on the surface areas, and the surface areas are basically going to be your go-to source of food for the shrimp without even having to feed them. So in my talks, I always say that if you go out in nature and you find the shrimp in nature, that they're eating probably 60% of their diet, if not more, is just biofilm, things that are growing on rocks, leaves, and wood. And then the other percentage of their diet is like things that the fish didn't eat, like other smaller shrimp and fish, dead things, and insects or something like that that has fallen into the river, leaves and stuff like that that break down. But it's not very common that they're able to get something safely out of predators' reach and stuff like that. So their main food source is just grazing on biofilm. And what is biofilm? It's that thin white layer of slime that's growing on new wood that you might see, and that's the most common way of viewing it in the hobby. But if you just take a glass of water and you have light available to it, within an hour, there's going to be biofilm that has now coated the surface of your drinking glass. Not really harmful with just an hour or so time, but over days, that biofilm could build up depending on what kind of nutrients were in the water and stuff like that, and it could actually become harmful or something like that to you. But for the shrimp, that's what they grew up on. That's what they're used to eating. Their gut load, bio load, and everything like that is meant to be breaking down different types of biofilm. So basically, it's a thin layer of not just bacteria, but algae, fungus, as well as other little tiny microorganisms basically coexisting together in this film-like substance. So it's not just one thing, it's accumulation of different organisms that make up biofilm. So it grows on wood and rocks and glass. Every single thing that has surface area in your tank is going to be good. This is the one time when I talk about fake plastic plants where I'm like, it's kind of okay because you're adding extra food source for your shrimp, but like you'd be a lot better off with live plants. It'd be doing extra things like working on the nitrogen system for you, and also growing and providing more areas of surface area for biofilm to grow and other microorganisms as well. But it is the primary food source for shrimp, and especially babies. Like, this is one of the main reasons why I say that powdered foods aren't really good, because if you have a good source of biofilm throughout your aquarium, you shouldn't have to feed the babies. The extra little biofilm that grows throughout the tank is more than enough. And then you get that little snail that might swim by a baby or crawl by, scoot by, and leave behind its slime trail. That's also another source of food for babies. But we don't feed any powdered foods at all whatsoever. I felt like our algae issues went down, our baby survival rate went up, and then it's less of a mess. Because if you try to feed powdered foods, even if you're near perfect, you're still going to have some of that dust get around the lid or the rim, or I opened up a bag a little bit too fast one day and it wafted a cloud up into the air, and shrimp came by and just started licking it out of the air basically. That's our dog, for those that are just tuning in first time, perhaps, we have a dog named Shrimp, and he loves the powdered baby food from Shrimp Envy, but I don't use it to feed our shrimp tanks anymore. I tried it for a little bit, but like I said, algae issues and whatnot, it can do more damage than it can do good. And in our case, I don't rush any of our tanks. We always highly recommend having 30-day period to run your tanks before you add shrimp. And I've said this a lot. The cycle is great, but the shrimp are low bio load. The cycle is not that important on a shrimp tank. What is important, though, is growing that thick layer of biofilm, because if that thick layer of biofilm isn't there, then you're going to have to feed your shrimp. And chances are that thick layer of biofilm isn't there, then your bacteria and filter haven't fully cycled yet, and you're not going to be able to keep up with the extra food that isn't eaten in the aquarium with the non-cycled filter, and you wouldn't have had to feed that extra food if you had just had biofilm in the first place. So I highly, highly recommend 30-day period to set up your aquarium before adding shrimp. But I'm going to be doing the complete opposite of that here in a couple of days. I'll be talking that later. I've got a box over here I'm going to open up. Should be I didn't know if we'd be able to talk about biofilm for a whole hour. We'll find out. But I'm going through these points a little bit quick, I think. But we got plenty to talk about what's going on, what we've done this week and everything like that. So
I would also like to say, I know a lot of people probably want to know what you can add in the beginning and what we add to our shrimp tanks at the beginning, like I did for my room, to help jumpstart that factor or the bacteria.
Do you want to do that now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I figured you'd answer.
Oh, no, you're going to talk about it. I'm not a fan of this. Shelby used it in her aquariums, the Bacter AE. There's also Shrimp Fit that you can use, and that's not the same thing, but it has beta-glucan in it, so it's a little boost for the immune system. But pretty much all powdered foods will help build up that biofilm, but if you overdo it, the biofilm isn't eating that much food. So it's going to be quickly broken down in your water column and causing issues. But you can add a bunch of botanicals, you can add wood, you can add pretty much any type of surface area, and it'll help build up biofilm. But there's like zucchini and snowflake foods and other things like that, that if they don't get eaten right away, they'll break down and build up their own biofilms and stuff like that. But 30 days time is really the best.
Yeah, I seemed a pretty good cycle with the Bacter AE, but I don't think I would recommend it, especially if you go off the chart too. It was an experiment for me for a little bit to do the Bacter AE chart, and that quickly turned into a mess, and none of my shrimp survived. So that was not a good plan, and I would not suggest going by the chart. That was a quick no.
I see a quick question right here I want to answer. Joven asked, what does TDS of 330 mean? So TDS is total dissolved solids, and 330 is just the makeup of whatever solids are in that water. It varies on a lot of different things on whether or not you have a water softener and stuff like that, but as long as there isn't a water softener and your water doesn't go through a water softening treatment plant, then I would say if you had 330 TDS, that your water would be fine for neocaridina, and you wouldn't have to add anything to your water. If that's the TDS of your tap water, then I would recommend neocaridina shrimp for you. I'm going to be talking about this more later, but we are literally running our ponds off of the wastewater of our RO unit, and I have not tested that yet of exactly what it is, but I imagine it's going to be around 330 or higher, and I don't think the shrimp are going to mind. The crayfish are probably going to love it. The guppies are going to love it, and
just don't forget
the rice fish are just going to have to accept it. But the dechlorinator is the biggest thing, but that's basically what it is a makeup of not just general hardness and carbonate hardness, but other minerals that are in your water can add on to the TDS as well. All right, back to me.
Mhm.
I just saw that. Thought I'd answer
Yeah,
it for you
I
real
would
quick.
like to preface it that a lot of people, we don't talk about this too much. If you have an older home and say you have copper piping, that could have issues with shrimp, and I think that happens a lot. Like all parameters are testing good, but copper could be high because it's copper piping. And I've noticed a lot of people on different social medias, oh, their parameters are perfect, and people are like, that can't be, blah blah blah. And there is other minerals we just don't test for normally in the hobby. Saltwater does because their corals can just poop, but freshwater doesn't. And too much copper could kill off shrimp.
We have copper pipes, and at the last show, I did get a copper test kit. We just have not used it yet, so
I can't wait to use that.
I will use it, make a video off of it, and give people like a base level of how much copper can be in the water, because all living organisms must have some type of copper in their diet. Is from my understanding.
This is a good one to bring up. Have you ever used dead shrimp powder? It worked well for me in a couple of tanks, and I will be using it in my Sulu SA startup.
No, the name dead shrimp powder is kind of like a big put off for me. And it also came out after I had already said no more new additives. I'm done trying to add new things. I never plugged the internet in.
Oh.
I just noticed that we're a little laggy. So maybe it's just on our end. I'm hoping it's just on our end. But I had already come to the conclusion that I'd spent enough money on snake oil and products that don't really work for us, or don't really add any like noticeable difference in baby survival rate or production overall or anything like that. And I've pretty much got a system down that I like, that I'm happy with, and it doesn't involve dead shrimp powder. So I've never tried it. I forget who else uses it that was trying to convince me that I should give it a try or something like that. But I'm not keen on trying it at the moment. I don't have any like thing that I need to ramp this up or anything like that. So
the only thing I would say that I have had a couple tanks where I've had shrimp die off when I had the tank set up, and it has been cycled and matured. And then I had some dead shrimp. I put more shrimp in the tank, and then somehow they're surviving and have babies. So I don't know if there's something to do with the shrimp dying and the dead shrimp powder just helping with it a little bit.
I'm honestly
Not sure
going to be like thinking about setting up tanks with Maricin and something like that, and giving that a go and seeing how that works out, because I do think that some of your tanks might do a little bit better with a dose of Maricin. Because I dosed the Maricin in Jaden's room, none of the shrimp died. All the blue-green algae is gone. You have 2 tanks with blue-green algae and a death or 2 in that tank. So
it just follows me apparently.
it is. I do have some in one of my tanks though, but it's probably from overfeeding, if I'm honest.
Probably me.
Are you feeding the fluval tanks too?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably it. It's following you. It's you still. The problem is still you.
I have learned that I do not do well with flake food. I overfeed flake food, but this is not a promo, but Aquarium Co-op's little community food, it is just perfect enough for me to realize how much it is. And it's like the perfect size that I'm like, all right, that's enough. When I do flake, for some reason, it doesn't look like a lot of food. So I'm like, I put too much and it's been causing issues. This switched over and I've done a lot better without having food left over. And it's okay for the ones that have shrimp in the tank. That's okay for me to do flake. But when it's just the fish, I don't like to overfeed because, of course, the algae problems come thanks to me.
We've been doing a lot of baby brine shrimp, and then certain tanks get tetracolored fish granule pellets. Some of them get the nano or the small. I can't remember what it was. He can't name it like nano anymore. So it's the magic small fish food.
Magic small.
The arc food is great too. We use that for the rainbows. Like we got different foods all over the place. I've got a bunch of Vitalis foods that I like feeding for different things. So we got a lot of specialty foods. So we're all over the place.
Vitalis is really nice for the bigger rainbow fish, and the angelfish really like it. But the arc is a community as well, and I like that one. Because it has like all grain sizes in it. So if you have like a community tank, it's really good for it, which is really good for our fluval tanks. That's the one I like using it.
So back to our topic though. And this is one of the things that I learned. So biofilm actually grows in succession. It isn't static; it evolves over time, so it has different stages. So basically, it's got the initial colonization start where the bacteria attaches. This is where I think the Bacter AE does a really good job. But I also think that that's also the problem with your Bacter AE is because the initial colonization and massive growth and population boom of the reproduction is so much of them breathing and inhaling the oxygen and using it up that's what causes a lot of issues with the shrimp when you use Bacter AE. Um, then it goes through a growth phase where the diversity increases. So you won't just have like that thin layer. You'll get a bunch of different, when it talks about it's made up of bacteria, algae, fungus, and microorganisms. Instead of it just being bacteria in the initial stage, it's going to add on a few extra things. So probably algae, depending on what is in your system, diatoms and just normal cleb and stuff like that, it'll probably build up. And then depending on if you have cladophora and like other algae that are more like a hitchhiker style algae and not just form out of nowhere, could also be mixed in that. And then the third phase is a mature biofilm. It's a stable, it's a complex of ecosystems, so that's probably got tons of different microorganisms and other things like that. And you want the mature biofilm growing because that's going to be the best food web. Your shrimp are going to get the most out of every single variety of food that they can get, and 60% of their diet will now be very nutritious, a smorgasbord of different things that is consuming constantly. Like they don't sleep, they don't take breaks, they are always nitpicking and grazing, and really having different places for biofilm to grow on, like a source of wood and some rocks, and having some like smooth flat rocks and some coarse like lava rock or something like that. You're going to get different biofilms and different gunk that builds up in those, and you're going to notice that shrimp will be grazing on them at different times throughout their life cycle. Each stage offers different nutrient and nutrition and stability. I pretty much said that. And then like a brand new tank doesn't fail because it's uncycled. A lot of times it fails because it's so hard to feed the shrimp properly and not overfeed them to the point where you're now adding ammonia in the water that your filter can't cycle. So I always say the more like nooks and crannies that you can get, the more light on the aquarium, the faster the biofilm will grow. And you can rush an aquarium a little bit faster than 30 days, but I'd rather not rush something. I'd rather it just be nice and stable. So that way in 30 days, you've got that mature growth. And from there on, it's easy to maintain that. You're not going to crash it out by changing water parameters or anything like that, which can happen. If you leave the lights on for 24 hours constantly, 7 days a week, your pH is slowly going to climb because the water and the plants through photosynthesis and the algae are going to use up that carbon dioxide in the water. And when that carbon dioxide is gone, your pH is going to go up. So
I actually had this issue recently where I left lights off for 2 days in my shrimp room. It's usually automated. I turned it off because I had like really bad allergic reaction to some pumpkin or the spaghetti squash recently, and I spent an entire day out, and I was like, I need to turn off the lights. Forgot, and unfortunately that caused some issues in my shrimp room. But I would like to talk a little bit more about that biofilm and when it's mature. This is a lot of times when people do the Wallstead method. It wouldn't be so successful without the aeration and everything if it wasn't for biofilm. Like, it's creating the ecosystem in the tank that you're not normally seeing. Some people fail at doing those little ecosystems because they over clean everything and like scrape the glass, they clean the wood, they 100% water change, and it doesn't do really well. Where that's like the whole purpose of that, is to create a little ecosystem, and part of that ecosystem is that biofilm. Not only does shrimp eat off of it, but obviously fry, even grown fish. I see our angelfish are constantly picking, shrimp are constantly picking at things. They're always moving. They need to be moving. It's essential to them.
I had too much notes here, but I'm pretty sure one of the notes is that over cleaning the tank can result in death of biofilm and stuff like that. So we'll go over that when it comes to it. If not, I'll remember it. But pretty much like food availability, biofilm is most important. Is the biggest part of the baby survival rate, and if you don't have mature biofilm throughout the aquarium and a constant food source for the shrimp, mature shrimp could starve, become weak, especially after a molt. And if the other shrimp are hungry enough, they will eat the other shrimp while it is alive, just because it's squishy and it just molted. So a lot of times when you have like a dead shrimp in the bag on shipping, if it's a larger shrimp, sometimes the other shrimp could have been hungry if it was fasting, and they could have actually stressed it out, rode on top of it. That's why we put mesh or something for the shrimp to hang on, because if another shrimp realizes that shrimp just molted and it can grab onto it, it might start eating it. And that's not something like people really talk about, because it's not common that shrimp will start eating each other, but it is possible.
Mm-hmm. That sometimes you won't notice that you'll having death in the tanks because of it. JP Jeffries said, #isopod agenda. I laugh and want to bring this up because it is really important to our topic, because isopods are one of those things that thrive off of biofilm, and they do really well with that biofilm. I don't think we would have success as much if we didn't have any biofilm or wood, especially in the tank. They seem to do really well, and it helps with the ecosystem all around, because if you could get some of the source of isopods in a nice planted tank, it'd be so wonderful for free fish food. I mean, you literally could have like a source in a tank that kind of feeds itself like an ecosystem if you had a large enough tank and seeded it with isopods and shrimp before you ever put in a community fish.
So back to the topics. Whenever people ask me, like, what are shrimp eating and da 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 da, I'm not like a nutritionist. I'm not like a specialty or anything like that. All I know is 60% of the time the shrimp should be grazing on biofilm. Biofilm has everything that the shrimp need and then some, besides some key minerals, which is why it's important to stay up on your water changes and other stuff like that. It's why they eat their molts, and you have to introduce like a food with a little bit of chitin in it so they can rebuild their shell, especially as that grows and stuff like that. But if it wasn't for their shell growth, they could pretty much just live off of biofilm. It also builds internal health. It's good for the digestive system, the immunity system all around. It's got all those little tiny microbes that are thriving off of these little tiny fungus and algae that are also inside of it, and they're all being gut loaded just for the shrimp as well. So immature biofilm is not going to have all of that different microbes and other things that are going to help with digestive system. So even though biofilm starts growing within an hour, it's not really going to provide all of the nutrients that your shrimp need for a complete healthy digestive system. So like if your tank isn't cycled for 30 days and you just throw some shrimp in there and they've got some issues with the bacteria or something like that, it's going to be a lot worse if they don't have some nice biofilm to go out and start grazing on to build up their gut biome.
And the way that kind of all ties together when you think of it like mushrooms in a forest and growth on wood, even for like regular land isopods and things like that, which, shrimp and isopods come pretty close together. So like if you don't have any growth in a terrarium, it's the same difference. You really want them to be able to graze in a healthy ecosystem.
And then Here's another thing that I had learned. Um, Mature biofilms, they compete with harmful bacterias. So they're eating up the nutrition and food sources of the bacterias that could actually be harmful and create bacterial infections and stuff like that. So it is good to maintain a healthy environment of biofilm and having those mature biofilms there to help out with those um, harmful bacteria. So, like if you did have shrimp that had a bacterial infection and you didn't find that dead body in the aquarium and it were to break down, if there's enough mature, healthy biofilm breaking down that shrimp as well, there's less chance of that shrimp, other shrimp in that colony, getting a bacterial infection and passing it on. Um, Immature systems are more prone to crashes, which is mainly from overfeeding. You don't have to overfeed your shrimp if you have a good source of biofilm. The biggest mistake that hobbyists make is adding shrimp too early, and the tanks might look ready, the surfaces, are super clean, and you might think that like the tank will go through like a dirty phase and then it cycles and it gets clean again. um, a lot of times it's those bacterias inside the actual biofilms that is just out competing the clem and all the other algae that make the tank kind of look gross and stuff like that. But a clean tank does not necessarily mean that there's biofilm growing. So you have to have your light on. You have to have some type of food source in the aquarium for the biofilms to be growing off of. So the wood is a great way to slowly feed biofilms without it really blowing up and out of hand. I don't know if people can hear him barking.
Probably.
He's
Usually
been barking
every time.
quite often.
Yeah, he's getting old. He might just be getting senile.
Yeah.
Forget what he's doing. He's like, wait, what am I doing? It's adorable.
So signs that your tank is immature: sterile looking surfaces like biofilm. You'll be able to see some type of like slimy residue. It's not really visible with the naked eye, but on like new wood you can really see it build up. But even like on photos and stuff like that, you can kind of see like it's a little blurry and it's not as defined as it would be in a brand new tank. um, there's going to be only a little bit of grazing behavior on your shrimp. They're not really going to be out and about all over the surface areas if there's not a lot of biofilm throughout the tank. And you might notice that your baby survival rate's going down, so there's not a lot of shrimplets in the tank. Um, and a mature tank, you're going to see the shrimp out constantly grazing. They're going to be out and about all the time. And then you'll
That can
see.
go for fish too, though. Fish will be nibbling on things too that you don't necessarily see. That all the time I'm gazing off to my tank, they're just nipping at like the corners of the tank, and it's just biofilm that they're nipping and eating.
Some cichlids will graze mainly off of biofilm and have their mouths are designed just for that, just like sucker fishing
Yeah.
and whatnot. But um, you'll have like a slight dustiness or dirtiness. A lot of times, my tanks will get more brown diatom algae or green algae on the sides and stuff like that. So I don't really see the biofilm. But when the shrimp are grazing over the tanks, they're eating the biofilm. They're not necessarily eating that green algae that's thriving on the glass.
Yeah, that's kind of why we do leave the algae on the glass. It does make for a really good surface for a biofilm to attach to. It's kind of like a trellis.
And,
Sorry, I always call it trellis.
and when your walls are nice and mature and full of biofilm, you'll always see babies out on the walls. It's a great indicator of a great, healthy, established tank is the babies on the walls. That's like the best way to see if your tank is really mature is when the babies are grazing on the walls. Other than that, you'll see them like in the moss piles and stuff. But after a week, they'll start coming off of the walls and making their way down to the food pile. So
So a good example of this that I'd like to talk about for a minute is my shrimp room. and I am not having as much success as I would want to. And that was a lot to do with the fact that we have deducted a little bit that I don't have snails in my room. We try to do a snail-free room. We've talked about this a little bit in a theory about helping better cycle, better biofilm, a little bit better for the shrimp. It's a good symbiotic relationship between the snails and the shrimp. I also did tissue culture cups, which come from a sterile lab. And then they're sterile when they get put in the tank. Now I put those plants in the tank and it seemed to be mature. But I can tell you right now, when I put my shrimp in the tanks, they were doing okay. And they're surviving, but I wasn't having babies or baby survival. I have a couple tanks that are doing a little bit better, but I do have wood in that tank. And that is the tank that I'm doing the best in out of all of my tanks. It has wood, it's got the plants, it's also got a Lego set in it. So a little bit more surface area for that biofilm. But just some of the other tanks where it's just plants and I put shrimp in, it didn't seem like it was doing really good. And unfortunately, I've been having those issues. And I did Bacter AE during the cycle. They were cycled for way longer than 30 days. Which is a little bit like discouraging when you get into it. And we've done shrimp keeping for so long, and but it is getting up there. Biofilm does matter a lot when it comes to shrimp breeding and success. And I am learning that the hard way when I thought that, just cycling and putting plants in would just be enough. And even the plants aren't doing enough for it. It has to have some other source of, I would say like it would be bacteria that's actually causing the biofilm to grow, because everything's getting cleaned up.
Bacteria is just the first layer of the biofilm.
Yeah.
The light is what's causing the biofilm to grow.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what the next thing is about. And then we're getting to the over cleaning thing also in this topic. But how to encourage biofilm or a proper biofilm session to go through the right stages. Time is the most important thing. I would say generally 30 days is more than enough time. There is something that when I was doing the research that it didn't bring up on this list, and I'm like, that's kind of crazy that it's not here, is light. A source of light is very important. If you're cycling your aquariums without a light source to avoid the algae breakout, well, then you're not growing the food for the shrimp, and you're going to have an algae breakout once you turn those lights on anyways. So it's definitely something you want to avoid, is keeping the lights off and cycling up your tanks. A nice, good light is very cheap these days. Like almost all LED lights that are sold in the aquarium hobby, if they cover your entire aquarium and it's lit up and you can see things pretty well in a camera and taking photos, then your light's probably good enough to grow just about any plant that you would want for your shrimp tanks that people keep in shrimp tanks. I'm not talking go out and get the white Loguidia and super high CO2 style plants. Yeah. I'm talking low tech, low light, easy shrimp plants. It's really easy to get a cheap light, and that light, as long as it's on, the longer it's on, the more biofilm it's going to grow. But like I said, after the first hour of that tank with the light on, it's going to have biofilm. But if you turn that light off, it's going to start dying off. So you definitely want to make sure that you have a nice light on your aquarium, and that'll make sure that the biofilm grows and establishes and matures.
To add to that, one of my most successful tanks that we've ever had that I absolutely adored and miss, if you ever want to see it, it is on Chris Biggs' YouTube channel. And it's the Covenant Cardinals, I believe, from the Garden of Eden is what he named it. We left the light on for several days to grow algae all over the rocks. And it was the most successful tank we ever had. With the snails, the shrimp, the algae on the rocks, it probably grew so much biofilm we weren't even paying attention, and just so much success. And they are constantly grazing.
It didn't really have much algae.
Well, it was algae on the rocks. It
No,
was the
there
good
really
algae.
there wasn't much algae in our tanks. That's the crazy thing about our Sulawesi tanks is there's not a lot of algae.
I will show you the video. I think
Okay.
you were misunderstanding the algae I'm talking about. Like, not algae all over the walls or bad hair algae. It was the rocks were green.
I didn't think they were.
They were white when we put them in, green when we cycled it.
I think they're still white. They're still in tanks. They've
No,
never turned
those
green.
were not them.
Those are the same rocks from the 55-gallon tank. All of those ones on the Sulawesi tanks are from the. Yeah, they are. But anyways, natural materials like driftwood, leaves, botanicals, those are all going to build up biofilms. As the actual material breaks down, that is going to help provide a food source for the biofilm to grow, as well as all the added surface area to grow out the biofilm also. And then feeding lightly to support microbial growth, and then avoiding over cleaning surfaces. So for us, we don't really scrape the sides of the tanks. I only really mess with the filters when the flow is reduced, or if like any of the tanks are slightly cloudy, like a bacterial bloom or anything like that. And then the fronts of the glass, we only really clean for viewing purposes, like filming, and when people come over or something like that, it's not really that green.
They're green. They were white when we put them in.
It's a little green, but it's the
And
same
push it
exact
back
rocks,
up so you
though.
can see it. I mean, when they're white and it goes to that.
Maybe we have too much rabbit snails now. Yeah, it's greener than I remember it. But those are the same rocks, though.
They were white, and then he says these aren't green.
I think it's way whiter for them than what I can see on my side. So, but
I wish you'd
it
show
is the same
whole
rocks.
tank, though. I feel like it's somewhere in there, but it's still one of the best tanks we ever had. Hundreds of Sulawesi.
Yeah, and then sadly they didn't like the 10-gallon tanks, but Laura's shrimp likes the 10-gallon tanks, so we have a bunch of them back again.
And we'll have a 60-gallon tank for them eventually. Once we figure out electrical, that would be nice.
So just to wrap up things, then we can jump into a different topic here. Different surfaces host different biofilms. Wood versus stone versus substrate. Like I mentioned, the lava rock compared to the wood compared to a smooth river rock. They're all going to provide a different source for different biofilms to grow on. I feel like the smooth river rocks can be avoided because you're probably going to get very similar biofilm that grows on the glass as well as the rocks. But who knows? Maybe there's very small amount of minerals that the rocks are providing for those bio organisms to live on it. I don't know, compared to the glass. Diversity, though, equals resilience. Maybe the water gets too warm or something gets off in your aquarium just slightly. Chances are one bacteria, that's why I like to use the Microbacter 7 from Brightwell, is because it gives you seven different strains to fall back on. It's the same with biofilms. Grow a bunch of different little nooks and crannies in your aquarium to give your shrimp the best chance of growing out and surviving and thriving. Shrimp don't thrive in water. They thrive on the surfaces. Biofilm is the foundation for long-term success, not just cycling your aquarium. That was the little notes ChatGPT gave us at the end. But yeah, it's been a very busy, jam-packed week. Very, very little downtime for us both. She did eat some spaghetti squash, and it may or may not have given her a allergic reaction. Could have easily just gotten sick out of nowhere. But
conveniently, right after I ate it, I got a really bad itchy sore throat and then sweating. My face was a little red and puffy, and I was like, I feel like it's an allergic reaction. Then I had a really rough night, woke up sweating and drained, and my whole throat, everything. It felt like I was on fire still. Spent the entire day in bed because of it. And I was like, well, maybe I'm sick. Maybe it's like a little flu. And then the next morning it was a little rough getting up, but then recovered pretty much throughout the day and then back to myself at night. So did say an allergic reaction when you consume something that you could be allergic to could take up to 72 hours. I've just never had an allergic reaction like that, so I wasn't really sure. And it could have been a 24-hour bug. You never know. But I think I'm going to stay away from the spaghetti squash. I don't know.
I want to try it again. It was like
that's
the best
fine.
one you had, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't
like
mind
it.
making it. I just,
I ate the whole thing.
yeah, it was really good. I mean, there was nothing wrong with it. I enjoyed it, and I would like it again, but I don't want the reaction again. That was not
Yeah.
a whole day and a half of
We've
not
eaten
working.
it before though, and I don't recall that happening. You know what I mean?
I hadn't
So,
had my allergies the last time
I don't know.
I had ever ate it.
But
Jaden was like 2. I didn't get my allergies till he was like 5, and I had our dogs.
well, I'm not really aware of where exactly I left you guys off of last with the IBC totes. So I'm just going to wrap up everything that we have up to this current exact moment. I've got the weed fabric, weed blocking material down. It is at least the part of the house that I'm going to be running all of our IBC totes. We had all of our IBC totes sideways, so they were longer, so I could make a longer fence for the dogs to run the backyard. But then I got more IBC totes over the years, so I turned them all shortwise. And instead of getting like 19 or 20 on the run, we've got 23 of them all hooked up. All of them have the airline already connected, and I cut fresh airline tubing. So that way it should be the perfect height for the sponge filters, or it's a little long, which I can cut and adjust when I add the sponge filters. We also had a very interesting turn of events this week. Not turn of events. I don't know. Very interesting encounter. We had the Tampa Bay Aquarium Society swap meet, and we had our table. Afterwards, we went to Portillo's, and of course, me being the fatty that I am, I got the extra large chocolate cake shake, and I devoured all of it, plus my rodeo burger. And I had woken up early that day to go catch get a bunch of stuff ready for the auction. I can't remember what I did exactly, but I was up earlier than what I thought I would be for that day. And I got home, and I think the baby was sleeping, and Shelby was about to take a nap. And I was like, you know what? A nap sounds good. And I don't remember what happened, but I was like, I can't sleep now. I'm getting up. I'm going to go start to pressure wash the tubs outside. And it's like the last thing that I really needed to get done, so that way I could install the air system and then start running the pumps. So we went I just got up and I went to go pressure wash the side of the house, all the new IBC totes that we were setting up. And I go to grab the hose, which I was filling up all of the tubs just to make sure that they were soaked, so the pressure washing would go by easier. And as I go to grab the hose, I noticed something very large in one of the tubs. So I was like, oh, what's this? It was a hawk. And I was like, all right, I got to save this guy, because it was looking at me. I could see his eyes, and I could see everything was still there, and it was coherent. And I was like, I don't know how long you can just float like that. I know ducks can float on top of water for a very long time, but I started to panic for a second, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this hawk out, but I don't want this hawk dying and drowning on my terms. So I started draining the tub, and then while I was draining the tub, I realized that it perched up on the shovel, and I was able to like get them out of the IBC tote and then onto the ground, and then I stopped draining the tote, and I was like, I don't know what to do now. And at that time, Shrimp, our dog, runs outside. What are you looking at? Giving me mixed.
Oh, the males are chasing one little female that must just be ready. I mean, she is borderline tiny. They were all chasing her, and then she ganged up with the other female. And they were like, she was like the bigger female was protecting her, like, get back. It was so funny. So distracting.
But I got the hawk out of the water, and it didn't like want to move around at first, and I was like, oh no, like maybe something is really wrong with it. And of course that's when my dog runs outside, and I'm like, get back, this is not for you. And I was like, I have a situation on my hands now, because I can't like take care of the bird and go get the stuff that I need to take care of the bird without having to watch the dog. And I told you Shelby just laid down for a nap, so I had to open up the house. Oh, I forgot to mention, the ice cream man also decided to roll up at that time. So I was like,
exactly.
I got 3 priorities now that I got to take care of: the dog, the hawk, and the ice cream truck. So I opened up the door, and I screamed in the door, kids, ice cream man, run outside now. And they know what I want, so I was good. I got my ice cream sandwich. And then I yelled at Shelby. I was like, Shelby, I'm sorry, but I need your help. And she comes outside, and it's like, what? I just fell asleep. And I'm like, and she's like, what? And I'm just like, look, like, I didn't want to say anything.
He said,
I'm just,
what do we do about this problem? And I couldn't find my glasses. So I'm out there like, first of all, just woke up, very confused. And now I'm just looking down at this tarp. And for me, I thought it was a groundhog sticking out through our black tarp we just laid down. And I'm thinking, how are we going to stop groundhogs from coming up from underneath our tarp and ripping it up? Like, I don't know how to stop that. And I looked a little bit harder because I was like, we don't have groundhogs. Like, that's not a thing. Like, maybe there is somewhere in Florida, but I've never seen them. Not like Colorado and things like that, those prairie dogs. And I'm thinking that's what it is. Like, where are those? And I'm like, no, that's a bird. It's got like wings. What is that? And I got closer, and I'm like, no, oh no. I just couldn't stop saying, oh no, because I didn't know if it was okay or not. And I was like going to be petrified. Like, I could not handle us losing a bird in a tub. Like, I couldn't. Like, there is one thing about anything else, but a bird? Like, so, not even, like, it's a bird everyone in the neighborhood loves, by the way, because it's nesting out front, and the kids are watching this hawk, and it has just been flying around town. It's got a nest, and it has been everybody's best friend.
And I don't know about you guys, but I don't know what to do when you find a hawk that, like, almost drowned in your pond.
That's huge.
And I'm lucky enough that I've grown up living next to Kim. Kim is a vet technician. Kim absolutely loves raising animals, rehabilitating animals. Since I've been a kid, if it was gopher tortoises, a squirrel, a bird, baby bird that fell out of a tree, it didn't matter what it was. If I thought it was injured or needed help or my assistance, I'd gather it up and I'd bring it over to Kim. I'd knock on her door, and she'd be like, yep, I have a friend. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. She'd go inside and grab like a bunch of like medicines or whatever the situation was, and she'd like take care of it right there with me in front of us, and then be like, I'll just take it to my friend. It'll be perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. like from baby bunnies to all different things that I found during my landscaping and everything like that. But even from a little kid riding around on my bike, I would find like a squirrel that fell out of a tree or a bird, or I said gopher tortoises because one time somebody ran through a herd of gopher tortoises, baby ones, trying to cross the street, and some of them were still alive. And I was like, I don't want them to get run over. They're just like laying there, not doing anything. So we brought those to a rescue. But I was like, I'm going to go next door and see if Kim's there. And we got a towel because I was like, we need to dry the bird off. It's cold. Like, it was clearly
It was
like,
shivering.
I'm cold, guys. You got a towel? So I went and got it, or like, Shelby got a towel.
This is a bad mistake.
I wrapped it up in the towel, and I told Shelby, I was like, you need to be extremely careful because if that thing wants to, it can take out an eye or claw you really badly, grip onto you, and you'll have a really hard time getting it off. So I kind of like held it like it was a chicken, like from its wings, and like held its side so its talons couldn't get to me. And I just hoped that it didn't peck me. It wasn't that like strong or like resisting at all at first. We were able to go all the way to Kim's house, talk to Kim, and Kim's like, oh yeah, just take it down to the animal rescue, the emergency clinic down the road.
Animal services.
And I was like, are they going to charge us for it? Because I don't know how much a hawk costs to take care of. Maybe I call some friends because like we know Will Nace and other people, and I'm like, maybe we can get a freebie and not have to go to the vet with this one. And she's like, no, they're not going to charge you anything at all. So yeah, if you ever come across wildlife and a hawk is about as dangerous as I was willing to go. Shelby's like all about bringing home coyotes and stuff like that. Please don't be bringing a coyote into the car with you, especially if it's injured or something like that. If you're not properly equipped with like a cage or something to be able to bring it to a facility. But yeah, the emergency animal vet will take your deceased, or not deceased. Oh my God.
What's wrong with you?
Injured.
Honestly, what's wrong with you?
Wildlife. And they will bring it to the proper rehab, and they will do what needs to be done to it that they can maintain and take care of it at the vet before it goes to the rehab center. So when we walked into we got it, we got the bird, and then we got our new van, of course. So this is like the first bird to ride in the van, which is pretty cool. And Shelby drove. I like finessed with the kids to get the seatbelt on and everything like that. And mind you, the bird was very calm up until this point, until like we got in the vehicle and it was like,
no,
what is all this stuff? I have not been inside something before. And I could see it, I could feel it like trying to move its feet around. And I was like, Shelby, go faster. Like, I don't care.
Luckily, we don't live far from one.
At this point, if we get pulled over by the cop, I'm pretty sure the cop's going to be like, oh, that's a cool hawk, and then give us an escort. I felt like it was that kind of situation. And, we ended up getting, but like by the time we pulled up, I was definitely worried that this thing was going to try and grab me at any minute. So we walked in, and the people there were like very happy that I brought the bird there. Like, they were not like, oh no, this dude brought a hawk in, now we have to take care of a hawk. No, they were like, you did the right thing. Oh my God, thank you so much. And I was like, all right, cool. Bye. And they're like, no, you have to fill this out. And I'm like, no, they're going to charge me for the hawk. I could have gone like a friend. Like, no. And then they're like, no worry, it's not for liability or anything. We just want to know like where the hawk. I'm pretty sure they just want to make sure like somebody isn't out there like torturing hawks and then like bringing it to the research center.
Back though, because it does
the
have
kids,
a home.
The kids are hoping that it comes back.
Yeah.
And I do think because it is a bird of that stature that it will make its way back to its home. I think it's got like a girlfriend or something over here that
I don't know
want
if
to
it's
come
a boy
back
or girl.
to.
I'm worried it's the mama to the babies.
Oh, that would be horrible.
I know, and we can't get up in that tree and take care of those.
I think all they're gonna do on it is a quick pneumonia test and then let it on its way, and it'll be fine. Because I felt like personally, if we didn't have Kim and it was just me and Shelby, that maybe 10 minutes after we had dropped it off of the vet. If we hadn't dropped it off of the vet and we just kind of chilled with it out back until it started to get to where it was, I would have started like dry out in the sun. It would have been fine. But yeah, my neighbor said with the water, it could be a high risk of ammonia with birds. So we don't want that. So we did take it to the rescue, and they or the emergency room, and they didn't say like, oh no, it doesn't look good. It was like, oh no, like you did the right thing. So felt good. But it definitely pumped me up. I woke up the next day early, like 8 o'clock in the morning, which is early for us. I get up to get the kids ready for school, and then I go back to bed and usually wake up around 10, 12. Not 12, 10, 10:30.
I was about to say
12 is stretching it. That's like after we do a trip, we'll sleep until 12 the next day. But no, so I woke up early at 8:30, and I went outside. I was like, I gotta start pressure washing these tubs so I can get the tarp on it, so I don't have any more hawks just appear in our ponds. What's so ironic about it was I was just talking to Mermaid John. I was gonna say John Jay, but Mermaid John sounds way cooler. And talking about things we found in our pond, and he had found an owl in his pond. Sadly, it was too late, but
that's so rare.
I found a hawk the same day I talked to him about that. Yeah. And I'm so happy that I did not take a nap with Shelby and that I went outside and found the hawk, because I don't want something happening on us. Like we make sure that we don't use any pest control or anything like that would harm different types of wildlife. And a hawk in our ponds, that would have been a rough day on Sunday if I had found that. It would have been a very sad burial and whatnot. It would have been a very, 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 very sad day. I'm happy I went out.
Sutton Road Aquatic says, thank you for the donation at the NEC. So we're missing the NEC. Didn't even know they're
so it's an NEC is an auction. It's not like they're doing their whole.
But I want pizza. I wouldn't make any excuse to go up there.
I'm sorry. I mean, we're going to go to Jersey. I think it's a lot smarter for us to go to Jersey and then like an extra couple hours to go get pizza.
Oh, that's all it is?
It's not that far.
I think it's only a couple hour drive?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
How late are they open?
But it's like a couple hours north. Yeah. That means it's a couple hours home.
But like, I'm just thinking Friday night, you know.
Oh, we don't have time.
Scotty said, I got the gift certificate from the auction. I'm not giving you more. I'm just kidding. Says another TGOE purchase coming.
Look forward to it. Congrats, Scotty.
From Brazil. We've had a couple of different people in today from different parts of the world, which is really cool. Thank you. Skipper saying, had to take Richard and Dennis say hi from PA, and he took them back to their room.
What are you doing? What is Richard doing up there? I don't know if you're still in chat, but I need more information. I feel like I missed out on something.
Yeah, taking them back to their room. That's what I'm saying. Like, they went all the way up to the NEC. In your opinion, what type of fish is best kept with neocaridina?
In my opinion, none. But if you have to pick one, the Otocinclus, the catfish, those are probably the number one recommended shrimp fish. Has always been since I've been in the hobby. It has not changed. I don't find them very interesting. They're cool if you can find the lime green ones, but they're
endlers.
And endlers are all right. The females can get too big and start munching on some juveniles even. But
3 tanks like now, we're having pretty good success with endlers and shrimp.
The baby survival rate
shrimp were... I mean, we're doing fine.
Where?
I have plenty of yellows in that tank. Right. I have plenty of wilds.
All right. You got me on the video. Now you go look at the yellows.
If you touch
I did not mean to. My depth perception is trash, okay? I don't know what happened. My eyesight is horrible. Well, because you don't want to be wrong tonight. All right. Anyways.
My wilds, there's 100 in there.
Where?
In the one next to the back door. plenty of shrimp in there.
And with
I've been-
fish, where? By the back, that
Yes.
tank back there. All right, but
Because they're not colorful.
that
probably helps.
those have the smallest females, though. Our other angler tanks have much larger females.
Same fish.
No.
And then you even have
There's
the
some females that get
smallest
bigger.
fish in with your yellows. Those are the smallest inler you could have is the magenta spade tails.
Oh, with the yellows and that thing, but there's
That's
only
what I'm
two.
talking
There's
about.
two of them. They're not. The fish aren't breeding yet either.
Yeah.
The yellows, I
But-
think, have just already been there,
We weren't talking about breeding.
and that tank is super, super decked out in plants.
All the way from Sweden. Welcome. It's a great video. Thank you so much. Welcome in, Toot Dog.
From all over tonight. You're right.
The Black King Kongs, unfortunately, I only have one left. I don't know if it was my tank and what's wrong. Like I was talking earlier, it's been running forever. It's got, that one even has like physical biofilm I can see in that tank. It's got plants. It's got the Rotala. It's such a beautiful tank. And for some reason, they're just not doing well. And I'm not sure what's going on. And said, have you used Benny's calyx balls? I think is what, I think it's with an A. I can't remember. So I have them. None of my colonies are big enough for me to use them and justify it. And grants against using them. So not against using, it just doesn't see a purpose. So until I get colonies big enough, I have my pandas in my room are actually breeding pretty well. So eventually I'll be adding those, but they are recommended for like 20 plus shrimp. I'm at like 20 shrimp and I just want to chance it until they get a little bit bigger. So if you have a large colony in a smaller tank, I would suggest that they would be okay. But having a proper diet is just enough. You don't have to have them.
And then with what James said here is there's too much conflicting information. It's not even the conflicting information. It's that they, just like the
There
dead
it is.
shrimp powder, it came out after I've already decided I'm not going to add anything else. Like we're already breeding enough shrimp. We're already doing, like, if I do my water changes and we feed 3 to 4 times a week, not 3 or 4 times, it'll never be, well, I guess
We
some
have
weeks.
some weeks.
But as long as we're doing that alone, the baby production in our tanks is like sky high. Like if you were here when Benny Tay was here, you could tell we weren't able to do our water changes. Baby production rate was at an embarrassing all-time high for me. I was like, I'm ashamed that somebody from Singapore is even coming to the house. If he could come over now, he'd be like, oh, you actually look like you're breeding shrimp.
Yeah,
If it
there's
wasn't
so
for
much.
like the tigers, the ghost bees, the yellow King Kongs that just really do well in all
this
different
tank alone behind
conditions.
us had like 3 shrimp. It's got like 100 shrimp in it
Yeah.
now.
And all it is water changes and being able to feed your shrimp. And we were feeding
And
the
good
shrimp.
biofilm.
We weren't able to do our water
Slacking.
changes. Now I'm literally like, I'm trying to do as many water changes as I possibly can. Inside, outside, everywhere. My whole day is building, putting stuff together, and then water changes. And I have, a couple hours every night to myself now, where before I back last year, I had all day to spend to myself because I couldn't do water changes. There was nothing for me to do. And I'm not going to work in tanks, make a mess, and not be able to do a water change after it. So I did nothing.
Was unpacking my fish order today. Didn't realize you sent me address coming for my shrimp tomorrow. And then just let us know in advance because later in the afternoon we do have some stuff to do.
She'll be gone. I'm pretty sure I'll be home.
No.
No?
You'll be dropping me off at my appointment and then with the kids. In the
Why don't
afternoon.
you just go?
That's after.
Why don't you just take the van and go?
There is absolutely nowhere I can park that thing.
No way.
I could barely park my car, let alone in a van in that parking lot because it's partnered with a dentistry and a pre-K.
If I get there and I'm able to drop or to park,
That's fine.
I'm gonna be so upset.
That's fine. You can be all upset you want. How was the swap?
Shelby was right when the Tampa Bay swap just does not hit as much as our Pasco and Space Coast swaps that we do. I don't even think we did $100 in sales, and we usually do like 300 at the other two. So I brought everything I could in the van, and then I thought at least sell the tanks at $1 a gallon. They're like brand new tanks that the kids use for the aquascape contest, and then that's it. And yeah, no, we sold some filters, we sold a bag of shrimp, we sold some plants, but we probably could have spent our day doing something more productive. But it's still nice to see everybody. Like every day that you get to go and see Thelma is a win. So I'll take it just on that. She left before I could say goodbye or talk to her all that much, but it's always great to see everybody at the Tampa Bay Aquarium Society. So the swap itself, not that good. The meeting, the people, phenomenal.
Yeah, it's really nice to, and I feel like it's kind of more of just swapping junk.
I did
but
come
we
home.
did come home with so much fish.
So hold on, let me go get some stuff because Shelby hates this, but you're gonna love it. You gotta keep talking. Don't leave the people inside.
But yes, we did come back with a lot of stuff. That's usually what happens every time we go to like a swap. It's just because you got good breeders, they got good stock, and we're all on the same level. Like we like to make money, or we like to advance our hobby. So obviously if I see someone that's got something for sale, it's a great time to buy up and get it from someone that I want to see do better as well.
All right. So my man Hank Darren always comes in with the bulbitis. So I got there early and I bought up all of his bulbitis.
I'm pretty sure we're broke just because of his bulbitis. And we never sell bulbitis.
That's all this one is.
He just collects bulbitis.
We
never grow it. It just stays alive.
No.
I'm growing some random fur
I have spread
from Japan.
I've spread that bulbitis into 3 different tanks over there. I've spread that. No, some bulbituses are very, very nice.
Seriously,
until I have that Greg Sage bulbitis.
It's so much better than your bulbitis.
It is, but your fern came from nowhere, Shelby. You did nothing.
Sorry for that ugly laugh. That was terrible.
Anyways, I got some bulbitis. I love me bulbitis. And it looks very, very clean. So I was happy about that. And then a little backstory here. The newts have been banging. They're not just like doing it, but like the babies have been growing.
You thought
the
you were
eggs,
funny with that one, didn't you?
No, but after it came out, I was like, oh yeah, they were doing that. Exactly that. But I have like 1-inch newts, and then I have like freaking, I don't know, 9/12 of an inch of newts that are growing.
Could you just say 1.5?
I could have just said 3/4.
They're probably 1.5 inch. Go get the ruler.
No, they're not 1.5 inch. But then we had other babies growing up. I got a tank full of eggs with a bunch of babies in it. I've got a bunch of newts that are growing up in different tanks. And I realized that the sponge filters were slacking in those aquariums because I had to drop the water level so low for the actual newts. And decided that it was time to upgrade those filters. So 3 of the tanks got upgrades to the small aquarium co-op filters. Shout out to Corey. He donated a lot of filters to a bunch of clubs or shows that we were traveling to, and I got at least 3 of them because those are hooked up and running.
What was that? What?
I think the NEC and
it was like
one of our Pasco clubs had it too.
Yeah, but I remember specifically the dollars. We were spending all the money on it.
Well, no, we got normal filters. That was at the Baton Rouge. Those were my $100 bills with my face.
Yeah,
on
your
it.
face on it.
We still have those. It's cool. But I replaced all of the sponge filters that I could with Corey's because they're smaller and they're like producing like little blasts of water. So those are cool. I like watching them from the side because it's like pew, 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 pew. It looks like constant missile fire, but it's not over filtration, and it's still like moving some type of circulation, getting oxygen in the water. I think the newts are definitely going to do better with those. But I ran out. I have like 6 tanks that I want to do and only 3 filters. And I think they're a little bit big. And I do think that I want to get it to a point where I'm like, I have the little newts like this much water level, and then I can raise it the higher, the larger that they get. And I think this filter, which I got for $1, and I asked the lady, I was like, where do you get all these like cool little tiny things from China? All like, I buy something off of her desk every single swap meet. And she's like, oh, Temu. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it sucks. And I was like, oh, all right, well.
You know what's funny? I'm gonna laugh if it's already pre-assembled in there.
And it's that small. We're gonna open this up right now.
I'm doing it.
Here, I got little scissors for
nails.
you.
Yeah, you've just been fidgeting with those, by the way. You know how dangerous it is sitting next to him? If he's got anything over here, he just fidgets with it. You can talk about your next item.
No, I want to see that one first. Okay. I was also talking about the backyard and then never finished there, so we'll get there. We'll get there, people. I got something else too. So.
I don't know. It says any advice for grow out tanks.
So I am not one for grow out tanks. I don't personally use any grow out tanks for any of our shrimp colonies. What I do is I have really nice shrimp that I breed in a tank, and then at 1 centimeter, I remove all of the ugly ones out of that tank, and then I leave behind a lot of the nice ones, and I sell all the ones that are like sellable, not the ones that I want to keep for competition or breeders, but all the ones that are high enough grade that they don't meet the cull standard. So perfect. Yeah, this thing is, I think, the perfect little newt corner filter tank. So for $1, the swap meet was a great buy. Now, that was $1. For $2, I'm gonna show you what I got. This thing right here. Now, if you can see at the very top, that's the main reason why I bought this thing, all right? It's not a sponge filter. It's like a box filter. All right? It's wrapped. So like it comes apart. So I can probably put media and other stuff in here. I don't know if I'm going to. Maybe I will. It's already got some media balls in it and whatnot, but the top of it has a propeller. So when it's cranking the air through it, the propeller be spinning, and it's supposed to diffuse the bubbles. It's not going to spin at all, and I'm going to be upset.
No, it's gonna work. But then what's going to happen is you're going to find 100 shrimp in this stupid thing, and then we're going to have to break it open.
No, because the air goes in here, and then it pushes everything out there. So only all the shrimp are going to be in here if I turn the air off at any.
I'm telling you, they're gonna find some stupid way to get in there. You know, like Nemo.
But I'm tired of, after like 3 years, all the sponge filters just stop working in the aquarium, and there's nothing you can do about it. So if I can keep buying really crappy sponge filters for $1, I'll replace every single one of them.
We're just gonna have the most random filters. People are gonna be like, "What is that?"
I don't even know how much some of our filters when they're like that. How are you even working? Are you filtering anything? It's bubbles. There's bubbles coming out of it. I can tell you that much. But is it filled? I don't know. Our tanks are doing good. Like, people come over. I'm like, there's still babies in the tank, though, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, so why am I going to do anything?
Nancy B said, only healthy coyotes in the car. Got it.
Shelby's coyote that she found. There's other people posting pictures of it in our Spring Hill neighbor group. No, I did not see that. I'm probably not in the group.
Photo because there's like 50% of people. It's 50-50. 50% of people are like, that's a coyote. 50% are going, that's a mangy dog. And so I commented and I was like, it's in fact a black coyote. And I was like, you don't see them very often in Florida. So I can understand why we thought the black coyote was a problem, because usually you can tell coyotes because they're like gray, basic coyotes, and they look scraggly and they look off, but this one's a black, beautiful. And if you saw my Facebook post, you'd see how beautiful it is. So, like, anyone wants that.
So besides this, I got some really rare swords. A live bearer out of Mexico that was collected from a special spot. I have the location. I have everything like that written down. I don't know anything off the top of my head, but I want some type of live bearer, like rare live bearer that we have in our collection. And the guy that had them, Bob, he's a well traveled guy. He collected them himself, and I asked him how much for them. He's like, make me an offer, and I was like, sir, I don't even know what these are to make you a fair offer. Like, I don't want to say $15, and then you're like, no, those are $60. I'm like, I don't even know what they are. And he's like, $25 for both bags. And I was like, would you do one bag for $15? And the guy's like, yeah. And I was like, you got a deal. And I looked at one bag first, and then I looked at the other bag, and I'm like, well, this bag is all females. I definitely want the other bag. And he's like, oh yeah, I was making sure you got the one with the male in it. And I was like, well, now I see why you wanted me to buy both bags. And the guy's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy both bags. So I went back to Shelby and I asked for $5 more. So I had a total of $25 to buy both bags. So now we have 7 very nice swords. Don't know what kind they are.
Aren't they the Montezumas?
No, they're not those ones. Those are the ones that Gary Lang has. These ones, they might be. I don't know.
They're a wild sword.
Yeah,
they're
wild.
Don't remember.
Very, very pretty lateral, like yellow line, and then like a red sword on it. So it was a very pretty fish. I liked it.
Please.
I'm sorry. So
Dee's Funny Farm said, we had a wildlife rehab guy here. He specialized in birds. I've gathered up quite a few birds, taken them to him. One red-tailed hawk. Those are cool. Cover them up, keep them wrapped up in the dark. See, that's something we could have done, is like put them in a box instead
of holding it.
Yeah, like we have a bunch of the black containers with yellow lids. That probably would have been a lot safer.
Grant in another dimension definitely got clawed up. For sure.
Yeah.
Maybe Grant in another dimension, they'll put them in a box, though, too. Probably not. We're all idiots.
You. Just in case something does happen, because we do have a lot of birds around our area. So.
And then also from the swap meet, I got several groups of red grass guppies. I walked through the whole show. I saw the red grass guppies. I was like, these are nice. I went through the entire box, picked out the nicest one, paid full price for it, and then at the end of the show, you can tell it's dead. Nobody's walking around that's buying anything anymore. It's just all the vendors talking to each other, and I know nobody wants to go home with anything, so I asked Richard how much he wanted for the rest of his red grass guppies. He said half price. I said deal, and so buying the nicest one first, maybe I did get the nicest pair in the whole show, and then all the leftovers. But all of our tubs now in the backyard have fish in them. We are not breeding any mosquitoes at all now. I was getting a little worried about a couple of ponds. I was just dumping them out, honestly, and that's just more work than I want to deal with, or just flooding the ponds and killing them all that way, because I'm doing massive water changes on them, getting all the algae out before all the fish get in. But everything's nice now. And everything has fish in it, so no more mosquitoes. And I got a lot of red grass guppies, so I'm really happy. Eventually, they'll all go in one tub, and all the fish inside will go in those tubs. But once they're moved, right now they're not in the right spot. I'm going to be moving.
Did not mix the red grass with the dragon.
No, I made sure I didn't do that. Yeah. At the last auction, Shelby got some red dragon guppies.
Yeah.
And those, yes, I did. I thought they were rice fish at first, and then I realized those are just baby red dragons.
Thank you so much, Moises Suarez. Moses.
No, I don't know.
Moises.
I don't know how to say your name, man. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you so much for the 99 super chat. Appreciate it so much. Thanks for hanging in with us tonight.
We'll find out tomorrow.
Justin, yeah, that live stream was crap. Justin Clemente, member for 19 months. Thank you so much. Said, what up, peeps? I've had success with different rasboras. Good.
keeping them in with the shrimp tanks. I think that's when we were talking about that. We are a full Rico behind right now.
I know. So. Usually we are not.
And also, Justin, I don't know if I messaged you back or I just thought about messaging you back.
You're really
if it's
good
not
at
on the website, I don't have anything special that you're looking for available anytime soon, sadly.
What tanks you got? Or what were you talking about? The 20 gallons we had?
Yeah, I have two 20-gallon aquariums. I was only asking $1 a gallon for them, so $20 a tank.
And they're new.
I have lids. I have LED lids for them too, if you want those. But all the real fish keepers know those are junk, and they eventually get rid of them anyways. So they're brand new though.
Remember to soak for 3 days prior. I'd have to remember that because I was not going to do that. I was just going to eat it right.
I'm pretty sure you would have read the directions. Shelby's really good at reading the directions. I'm really good at sending it and having really good success with it, and I haven't learned my lesson yet.
Welcome back, Skipper. He wasn't here.
All right, Skipper, what are you doing?
Speaking of my newts, my son wants some.
With Dennis, let alone Richard. And is it Richard Reynolds? Is he up in PA? What did I miss? I feel like I'm missing out on something right now.
But what for $1? See, now I'm too far behind. Sponge filter probably.
And then there's also Hank that I bought all of. No, the filters. Those were the only ones that she had of those types. Hank also had a bunch of shrimp that were our line, and I already told him at the end of the show, whatever doesn't sell, I'm going to buy them. I've got a video I need. Shrimp for. I got a bunch of ponds that we're going to stock with his lines as well as our lines. So I bought all of Hank's shrimp because they are our lines, and he got my oranges before Jaden wiped them all out, so they are nice oranges.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about. Our oranges have been through the ringer. I just can't keep up. And we have some good oranges right now. They're not bad. I have 3 tubs going, and they are breeding. But I do get a lot of greens from them, I'm going to have to start a green jade line from our oranges because it's just so many. But I just need a tub for that because all my tubs are taken. So the greens keep going in with my my Skittles tank. I have a Skittles tub out there.
There's some weird gray blue ones that we need to throw out in their own tub. There's some Rillies that we need to throw out in their own tub. There's a bunch of them that need to be tossed around.
I see Caterpillar said I've had a similar filter and it's back in the box thrown in the dark corner of the house. I can't wait to take it out and throw it back in the box.
I mean, as long as bubbles run through it and it stays on the bottom, I think it's going to replace one of my sponge filters no matter what, because I think that's a win. Unless the plastic kills fish. But yeah.
I added ammonia to tank for a fishless start, and after a month of adding Factor 7, and the ammonia is still high, so I started adding long cycle from Fluval. I don't even know what that is. Long cycle from Fluval?
It's probably just their starter culture.
Oh, are you talking? Oh, the red packaging? I just call them by their colors. The green for plants, blue for dechlorinator, red for biological. I love that stuff. That stuff actually works really good. I've used that, and then I use my Pisces media in a can. It's got a bunch of good stuff in it. Sorry.
Hit on Justin's. You skipped it.
Oh, how do I get those for $1 and a $2?
So the lady that I bought these from said that she got them all off of Temu. Me and Shelby have never bought anything off of Temu. A lot of reasons was in the beginning, a lot of people's information got sold or stolen, and you can use PayPal though. We've just never found anything that anybody's gotten off of Temu that was worth spending money on. But
it just looks like arts and craft project.
But there's definitely I think content to be found on Temu products. I could definitely find one day once we get caught up on our content, both me and Shelby get a budget to spend on stuff on Temu where we try to find things that make the other person laugh and try to find things that are actually
Were you listening to what I was watching
viable.
The other day?
No, this is a common thing that happens all the time.
Because I was watching, it was a Walmart versus Temu PC build.
No, I actually somebody's video I keep seeing is like things I use off of Temu Part 1.
Can we do an aquascaping one?
Aquascaping challenge where we have a
yeah. I buy stuff off of Temu.
There's definitely content
and you
involved.
buy stuff off of like Amazon, and see who can get better bang for their buck.
Oh, I was thinking we both have the same budget on the same platform, and we have to escape with that.
That's not as much fun.
I don't know. I think it can be. I think we need to get our content done. That we have 7 videos at least in the tank.
No, let's start another project.
That Shelby needs to find extra hours in the day.
Swords get some. Yes, certain swords are very worth it, especially when you don't see them in the hobby. I definitely love it.
There's
Skipper sent you a picture.
There's been a few swords that we've tried out in the past, and they've not been that successful for us. I'm hoping that these ones are going to get a larger body of water, more filtration, and a lot more live food. I think that's my biggest thing. Besides the brine shrimp, we got 2 brine shrimp hatcheries now. I couldn't believe the amount of brine shrimp that I was walking around with today. And it wasn't just like, oh, I've got a cup full of brine shrimp. This was like the pinkest, most concentrated brine shrimp collection I've ever gotten. So everything got a heaping dose of brine shrimp after Shelby already fed the whole house. But I'm also working on Dero worms. And my Dero worm attempt in the past didn't provide as much Dero worms as I'm like seeing Josh bring massive amounts of Dero worms to all of these meetings. And I'm like, you're probably feeding them off too. Like, what's the deal here? So my way of keeping Dero worms has been like just a little container of water. There's a sponge in there, but it's like fully underwater, and then sprinkling oats around it. And then I do see like my little clump of worms multiply into like 5 different clumps, and then they eat the entire oatmeal, and they turn into 5 bigger clumps of worms. But it's never like, oh, I could feed those off now. It's like, okay, I need more. What's going on? Like, make more. And then I'm like, Josh, let me see a picture of your setup. He's got these things in a big old bin with only like that much water, but then the sponges are raised above the water, and then he's dumping the oats on the sponges, not in the water. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. I'm doing this way wrong. I need to ask more questions and not just assume I got it from here. So I'm going to try that. I can't find any of our sponges. I have a bin.
You only pertain to some of the information.
I have
like water worms, good.
I have a bin where no, I didn't ask like.
No, he definitely told us, like, and he was like this, and this, but it's like
not the amount of water, not the submerged or immersed sponge. I was just like, all right, we're good from here.
It's like painting and going. It's oil and paint on the canvas.
But I went through the garage. I know I have a tote in there that has a bunch of like old sponges and stuff like that I could use for this project. I can't find it, so I need to go dig through any sponge, any aquarium sponge. I know from all those old canister filters that I took all the sponges from. I got stacks of sponges, and I could use those.
The ones that I've been secretly throwing out.
Why?
I'm just kidding.
See, this is why I'm like,
kidding.
This is what happens. You throw stuff away, and I'm like, those were useful. I was actually saving those for a useful thing.
Somewhere. If they were gross, they got thrown out.
But maybe I'd go and just take some of Plamsky's sponge filters on the side of the house that I haven't put to use yet and use those. I don't know. But so yeah, the Dero worms is something else I want to ramp up to start feeding. The newts absolutely loved them. I broke up the Dero worms when I first got them and fed half of them to the newts, and they tore them up. They absolutely loved them. So that's the main reason why I'm ramping up the Dero worm cultures. But all of the fish outside, I want to get another brine shrimp hatchery going where I just keep it outside and I see how fast I can get the brine shrimp eggs to hatch in 90-degree temperatures.
So I'm working on a bunch of live food as well. I got the Dero worms and bought a 1/4 pound of black worms today. Live cultures is 100% the way to go.
And I had like 3 people ask me to get the black worm lady to come do a talk in Pasco. So I'm
not like I haven't been asking for months. I was like, please bring a woman.
I got Diana
a
Wallstead.
woman that I
Come
would
on
enjoy
now.
besides
I
Diana
got
Wallstead.
Diana Wallstead. She's like
That's not
5
enough.
women at least. All right. What? She's legendary. Didn't you talk at her
If it
club
was up
recently
to me,
too?
it
And
would
she
be
talked at
all
her club.
12 months.
If it was
Women.
up to you, if it was up to me and I could find more women speakers, I'd be all for it. But there's not that many.
One that I'm asking for.
All right, and I'm all for it. She just
I'm
spoke
glad
at
other
the
people
Fort
are
Myers
asking.
club, so I'm like, well, maybe we let a little time go in so that people,
Well, this is the best time because there's more people that are trying to breed during this time, and getting them up on their life cultures.
I will
way to go.
message her and ask her when she's available in Florida for this year, and put that together.
I'm excited.
I got Lawrence Kent scheduled for November.
The worst time for him to come.
It's not the best.
Usually
It could be the best
September
collecting
would be,
time.
like,
It
the
depends.
best time.
All right, November was the only month he could take,
Oh,
and I've been trying to book him now for a year.
yeah.
And it sounds great, but doesn't agree on anything. So I have him agreed on a month. I'm taking it.
Wolf Knight said, I guess my question is the ammonia too high for the bacteria to survive, or is Brightwell Bacter 7 just a bad product? That was pertaining to earlier. I added ammonia to the tank for fish to start, and after a month of adding Bacter 7, the ammonia is still high, so it's not eating the ammonia.
Here's my problem, Wolf. Every single person I've ever dealt with, ever, and I'm sure there's live streams that could go back on this, anyone who has ever added ammonia into your system, it's like setting your tank back at least 3 months before it starts to cycle. I don't know what it is. I don't know where the ammonia source comes from. I don't think it's the same type of ammonia makeup that's in fish waste and stuff like that. So I have seen this problem every single year I do shrimp keeping, and I don't know why adding ammonia is preached on or where people come up with this information. But I have personally never found somebody who has been successful with adding ammonia to their aquarium and cycling it in 30 days. It's always taken 3 months or longer. Every single person I've ever talked to. So I honestly say go out and try other brands of bacteria and give them a shot. But I would say Brightwell Florin Bacter 7 is by far the best one on the market, in my opinion. We're not backed by them whatsoever, but every single tank I've ever started with it, I've done well. Where we have started other tanks with SL Aqua products, with Shrimp Daddy products, with MK products, with other like Tetra, what is it, Turbo Start? No, they're not Turbo Start. That's Fritz. I've never tried Fritz. Fritz is Turbo Start.
Tetra's Turbo Start.
I think Tetra is Safe Start.
Tetra Safe.
I don't know. We've tried everything, and by far the one that's worked the best is Florin Bacter 7. But I will say this: every single person who has ever come to me and said they added ammonia into their aquarium has had issues. So it's not what I recommend.
Said Blackworm Lady, yes. She's awesome. She's been going to several clubs. She's up in Maryland. I think
she has a Florida home though. She travels back and forth. That's where because I've known her from Florida shows first, and then we seen her up north at the NEC, and I was like,
NEC. Well, Keystone Clash, we usually see her. She helps set up the fish shows. She's really awesome, and she has like a whole workshop where she has the little kits for sale. And everything for you to do the kit while she's doing the demonstration. So it's like a whole workshop of learning how to culture your own blackworms, which is incredible. It's one of those things that's definitely needed because a lot of times, like we used to get blackworms all the time from our local pet store, and then they started coming in with parasites. Don't tell me no.
Hold on. I was going to say our main source for for blackworms used to be the Tampa Bay Aquarium Society. We used to be able to buy them by the pound.
Yeah. No one breeds them anymore.
We would buy live bloodworms from the pet store, never blackworms.
They were blackworms.
I think they were bloodworms.
They were blackworms. You know the difference between blackworms and bloodworms. They were blackworms, and they were coming in with parasites, and they were having issues, and then our fish were having issues. Yeah. And we were having too many issues of it, and then you don't see them anymore. So, Wolf Knight says, so should I do a water change?
Yeah, I would personally do a massive water change. I would check the ammonia level afterwards, and if there's any ammonia in it at all, I wouldn't add anything. But personally, to feed the Florimactor Microbacter 7, this is from the actual warehouse product manager himself. Recommends using a fertilizer to feed the bacteria rather than ammonia. That the amount of ammonia and how concentrated it is, it's through the roof on how much you actually need, and it's way more than the bacteria is ever going to have to cycle out.
Why do you just look like you're struggling to talk?
I had the hiccups.
Okay. I think you're
struggling. I'm trying not to yeah.
Thank you so much, Volpies, for the $5 super chat. Says Shelby hair looks nice tonight. Grant's not so much.
Listen.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's pretty rough. You know, I don't know what you did the other day, but it was like flapping like perfectly behind him, and it was like the perfect motion at the perfect time, and I just thought it was the funniest thing. So, I miss playing RuneScape. It's been a while. I was unsuccessful on fixing Grant's computer, and the part that could potentially fix it is like $100, and I already spent $80, and another $100,
only worth
and that's $180 on a $500 computer that might potentially have the same issue in a year. So I'm not really sure, and I keep weighing the options on whether to buy it or not. So we might.
Here's what I say we do, and we already considered this when we were buying our vans, because one van was $6,000 more than the other van, and we would have had to pay some money out of pocket to cover the extra difference that our loan didn't cover, right? Well, the money that we didn't have to pay on the down payment, we were like, we can reinvest that money. We could spend that money on membership, which I did message the person to try and speed up that, so we can do more giveaways. We can get new banners and stuff made up for doing the shows and advertisements and stuff like that. And we could also afford to get another computer. We could get the van wrapped, all of these things for the amount of money that we saved by not getting the other van. So we are debating on whether or not to just go out and buy a nicer computer than what's right here. This computer is great. It's actually lasted us 6 years. It's 6 years old. And
we still have the protective screen on top of it.
Yeah, all the stickers
are
still
pristine.
On it. And we could upgrade this. Spend a good chunk of change. Upgrade this. Have two computers that Shelby could edit from and work on. And then the other computer we could get fixed when we have like extra spare money laying around. And then just let that one go to the kids. Because we bought it as just like a little extra backup computer to just game on and do whatnot on. And I didn't think it would go poop like that so fast.
Yeah, it's strange. It's just a RAM that it's $100 for another one. And I mean, I could probably find one cheaper, but like, I don't know. It's dumb. Scotty said Mandy Gone. Yes, president of the Maryland Club. Yeah, I didn't realize she was president. I forgot about that. But yeah, she's pretty cool. It's one thing to type it out. It's another thing to actually have it done in person, because I cannot tell you how many years I watched Bill Shields tell us about brine shrimp. And the way he did brine shrimp, and I never wanted to do it. And I did want to do it. Obviously, live food is like king, but the problem is actually physically doing it. I think that's where Mandy sets apart and it's really cool.
No, don't take them away from me. I want to do my unboxing,
You're
so I need
annoying.
them now.
Okay. What part do you need? Oh, yeah, I already said that. And what shrimp will be on the van? None.
If we do a wrap on the van, there will definitely be
That's a
shrimp
wrap.
on it.
I mean,
But
I guess.
we're thinking about maybe
I was
just
thinking about just doing a magnet.
no magnets. No, we go to a magnet, and then somebody takes the magnet at the first show we go to. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. I'm not
Then
doing
they're
that.
just advertising for us.
I'm not. It's gonna be in like their fish room or something like that, and they're not even gonna have a fish room channel. They're gonna be like,
I
"Hey,
think
you
that'd
want
be
to see
funny.
something cool? Come check this out. I stole Grant's magnet. I have to
think
take
that'd
it
be
off
funny.
every time he comes over, and it's
We
just at
should do
Lucas's
that,
Brett's
actually.
house or something."
Just like make like we'll just order wholesale of a bunch of shrimp magnets, and then it's just our brand, so someone takes it if they ever meet us.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty cool.
let's unbox the box.
I can't lift that thing.
You can lift that thing, Shelby.
Wolf Knight said, okay, I can't lift this. So should I do a 50% water change? Also, I have Thrive Shrimp Safe. Should I add some of the fertilizer? If so,
I wouldn't
do a
add
full
any
dosage of
fertilizer. I wouldn't add any fertilizer if you test the water and there's ammonia in it at all. If there's ammonia still in it, no. But I would personally do like a 90% water change. I feel like the ammonia you added is not beneficial, and I would want to get it out of there as much as possible. I would probably go all the way down if I was being honest myself.
Oh man, you're gonna have to watch after the live stream with the female. Like males keep coming up to her, and she's just shaking her head. Looks like she's going, no, leave me alone. It's so funny. I think she just gave birth because we have babies in the tank, and then we have babies up in the guppies too.
Well, this is the final part that I need to finish out all of the ponds outside. Everything's all airlined out. I've got a little bit of debris left in a couple of the totes that I'm going to siphon the water out and then add substrate. And then this is going to go in right behind it all. I hope to have substrate and everything vacuumed out. I'm filling up the totes right now as you speak. I could actually probably run out there and move the tub right now, but don't worry. It's on one that needs a good cleaning. It needs a little washout still. So it's doing its job.
Hurry up then. Keep talking. Open the box.
But everything's all said and done. This is the final piece to the puzzle.
These are not going to cut all that.
What do you mean?
Like there's just too much.
I mean, it's well packaged for sure. But holy Toledo, when I got this thing, I was like, this could be a torpedo. Like, it is massive. It is heavy. We got
Why
a
does your mind
blower.
go like, oh yeah, that could be a torpedo? Like
It's
that's
heavy.
a feasible thing for someone to be
Because
getting.
torpedo rhymes with Toledo, okay? That's why I did that. I thought about that all
But, like,
day just to say that phrase.
That's such a strange thing. Like you could
know.
compare it to something like someone actually getting like, like this is like 4 giant bags of soil or something.
It's
like.
heavy. It could have been a Toledo torpedo, okay? But I got the blower for the Outback already. It was not this heavy. This is way heavier. This thing is.
So I don't know what this is.
This is a mini truck
jet,
engine.
Yeah,
It's
like a jet
heavy.
engine or something would have been more relatable than a torpedo.
But it doesn't rhyme with Toledo, okay?
Jet engine. I don't know. I was trying to
Give me
find
another
something to
word
rhyme.
that rhymes with Toledo. Comment section. Come on, chat. Give me
There's
a
a
better
lot
thing.
of things that rhyme
Toledo,
with Toledo. But like we don't need to use that word.
It was a good phrase.
Oh, nice stuffing for the packaging.
If you, Scotty, if you place your order tonight, there's a good chance that this will be in your box next week.
Recycle and reuse.
All right. So for those that don't know what I'm unboxing right now, this is an air pump from Gemco. In the past, if you look at all of the pumps in our entire house, they're all Alitas. We've been a little bougie with the Alitas. When we first got into the shrimp hobby, it was like all the really nice shrimp breeders, the higher end shrimp breeders, they all had the Alita. So I was like, that's the Ferrari. I'm going to go get that. But little did I know Lamborghini was in the United States making filters this whole time also. Gemco has always been an option, but I haven't been like jumping on the bandwagon as much because all of the high-end shrimp breeders were using Alita. So I was like, that's the one I want to use too. But when you message Alita, they're not very good at getting back with you. Their customer service is trash. And it's a China company, and you get what you buy. It's a good, cheap pump. It's quiet. It's efficient. We've got like 11 of them, and only 2 of them have failed in the last 10 years or so. And 2 of them, I think, were used when we bought them. So like they had already gotten some thrashings before we had gotten them. So it's just a great pump. And I never had a reason to go anywhere else until I started asking questions. And Gemco was so nice that they helped me out using my pump outside. I bought it used off of a member up north. And I figured for $75, it's a steal. And even if it works for a month or 2, it'll get me to where I need so I can save up and afford a nicer pump. And it wasn't producing the output that I needed. And I was contacting Gemco, and the guy was like, well, what are you using now? And then he's like, asking me a bunch of questions and actually helped me solve my issue and got my old pump running. And it's still running to this day, like 4 or 5 years later. The outdoor Caradina tubs have been running off of a used 1/3 horsepower pump. And I've always wanted to upgrade it and use something better. And I always said if I ever buy another pump, I was going to go Gemco. So, ladies and gentlemen, here it is, walking me through the entire process. I basically sent them a YouTube video that we had of our ponds out back and said, this is what I got. What do you recommend? PVC pipe, everything. He walked me through all the ins and outs. So one of the things that my system does not have that I wanted to include on this one is a bleeder valve. All of my other systems, I feel like, don't really need the bleeder valve because I just use way more sponges than I think the system can hold. And none of the sponges really are like turned all the way up. And I could still add a couple sponge filters, but every system that I feel like I have to add a couple sponge filters, I would have to dial down some of my other sponge filters to get more to run. So we got a bleeder. No, this isn't a bleeder valve. This is just the part that goes to the system, I believe. I don't see any bleeder valve. I think this is just my connection from the pump to the PVC pipe. So there's that. Nice flex tubing that'll go outside. Maybe they didn't include the bleeder valve, but I definitely said I wanted it.
Yeah, air pump to PVC pipe or manifold.
Maybe the bleeder pipe will be in. But plenty of nice packaging that we will recycle to ship out. I'm trying to open up this box, but I'm sorry.
Okay, just
I didn't mean to do that. All right. The box inside the box, and this is where all the weight is.
Stoney's, or SC Catahoula said, I'm pretty sure both Lamborghini and Ferrari are not U.S. companies. But we understand.
I was using the comparison.
Understand what you mean, Grant. Scotty said, can you imagine a shrimp version of the super cichlids wrap? That's cool, but I just don't. We all have our off days on driving sometimes. I don't want to accidentally cut someone off with my business logo wrapped around it. I don't know. Stoney said, hey, gang, just wondering if you ever tried using any Grow Greenie products. Florida made too. Nope.
Any what?
Grow Greenie.
No.
Never heard of it.
Yeah. All right. Warning, this pump is equipped with safety switch to disconnect power to coils in event of diaphragm failure. This switch can trip during shipping. Reset by opening main cover and pushing down on white switch in center of large nut above coils.
What's it going
activating
to white switch between a large nut?
It's what it is, Shelby.
Well, why? Why couldn't they make it red? It could have been anything but white.
Man,
Oh.
she freaks out. There's a spider.
Yeah.
Genco gave us a free spider and you didn't keep it?
No. I don't know where it went.
It's right here.
Stop. You're not funny. You think
Man,
you're funny.
I swear I ordered the bleeder valve. It's not in here. I think I didn't. I think that's on me.
Well,
I think the guy said
to install a bleeder valve.
and I was like,
You don't
yeah,
wanna
that
read.
sounds great. And I think I just assumed he was going to add it in. And then I guess not. I guess not.
They make
Maybe
aerators.
I just make 80 valves and I don't need it.
Greener.
All right.
Greeny.
There we go, Shelby. Take this box off. All right. It's so nice.
It's like a massive
This
bleeder.
thing is so nice. It's a good color. It's solid quality.
Did you know it was going to be that color?
No, I had no clue what I was buying. I just asked the guy and I said, hey, this is what I'm doing. What do you recommend? And I'll even say this. He gave me options based on how many outlets I was planning on upgrading to and how much money it would cost me if I wasn't using those outlets compared to a smaller pump. So I need to run all 80 outlets off of this thing to get my money back off of it this year. But we've got a lot of tubs that I'm going to add on to the system. So
funny on Grow Greeny's website. It is for like fisheries and stuff, but the first review I see on the bottom is 5 stars. It works.
it works.
It works.
So it's great.
That's funny. Micro bubble mixer, move
Yeah.
excess filters.
I'm going to need a reminder to do that and take care of this pump. But this thing is massive. It's heavy and it's going to run 80 ponds outside. I've got another issue where the filters that we use for our other side of the house, they're no longer being made. So I can no longer purchase them from my current source. I think I can buy a couple of them off of eBay, but they're like $10 more than what they were before. So I'll probably buy a few of those. But with these tubs, originally we were going to just do the RO wastewater overflow, and I wasn't even going to run any air to these whatsoever. And then Shelby, she saved me on a bunch of things. Like I started pressure washing the tubs, and she's like, we cut them last time, and you're like, yeah, I got to cut them first and then pressure wash them, and it'll make your life way easier. And I was like, oh man, you're right. And then I cut them all, and it made my life way easier. Probably saved me a half a day worth of time, if not more. And man, Shelby reminded me when I had this plan originally that, hey, we go to like Aquashella and we do these other events where we're gone for 5 days at a time. And the, exhaustion from the shows, you're not going to get home necessarily and turn on the RO unit to get that wastewater flowing. So I was like, you're right, Shelby. I'm going to have to get air to these things or else it's going to go stagnant and we're going to have a bunch of die-offs happen every single time we go and do these shows. Maybe not, but it's not really a risk that I'm trying to take. And I also think that I think this pump was $740, somewhere around there. And, the sponge filters for each pond and the airline tubing, we spent $200 on PVC pipe to get everything all connected and run around the other half of the backyard. So let's just say we're in it for like $1,500 with all the filters. I think that in just 1 month with air, I'll get more than $1,500 worth of shrimp from having the air in the filters, and the baby survival rate will be paying for the extra electricity and everything like that.
That thing looks like it's going to break our IKEA couch.
You gotta go that way
get
with
it out. You're going to have to
All right, I'll come back.
That thing's heavy.
It's a beast.
Okay. Wolf Knight said also, what's the best way to get rid of green hair algae when I have shrimp in the tank? So the best way, especially if you have shrimp in the tank, would to be manually remove it. The best way to do that usually with the hair algae is I take a pair of tweezers. I usually grip it and then spaghetti string it and just keep twirling it. It usually is the best way to keep going with it. And then I usually take a fine mesh net like the ones we use for the shrimp, and I swirl around, try to get as much as I can, and then do like a hefty water change to suck up as much as the hair algae as I can without sucking up shrimp. You have to really pay attention to that. If you're worried that you're not paying attention, I'd put a net on the other side of the drain hose, and and then just reduce the lighting on your tank. Even if it means like you got a light, I would put like a towel over like half of it to reduce the lighting for a little bit and stop overfeeding. That's like a big cause of it. Or plant more plants. Oh yeah, bottle brush works as well.
What if I had some bad news for you though, gnarly beard?
What are you talking about? Wolf Night.
Wolf Night. I thought gnarly tree beard asked it. I'm sorry. She doesn't
What's
leave the
wrong
thing
with
up,
you?
and I can't see anymore.
You can't
I wasn't
read?
here. Where is it? I can't see.
there.
Okay, no, I'm not reading everything over there.
You just saw green.
Anyways,
You just saw green.
if you do the three things, you decrease the amount of light that your aquarium's getting, you decrease the amount of food that you're feeding, or increase the amount of water changes that you're doing, right? If you're doing those three things and your algae doesn't go away, it's probably not hair algae. It's probably a case of the Cladophora. And if you've got a bad case of the Cladoph, doing three of those things all together is not going to get rid of it, sadly.
It'll reduce it.
It'll kill it back, but it can still thrive and grow really thick. And you'd be like, everything I do isn't helping at all. And Cladophora is just like that. It thrives in clean water as well as really dirty water too. And the only way to get rid of Cladophora, if you have shrimp in the tank, is by using a hydrogen peroxide. You want me to go grab it?
No.
You can message me if you want the specific hydrogen peroxide, but I don't just use that brown bottle you can go get at the convenience store or whatever. You have to go and order it on Amazon. It's the only place we can get it, and it's a medical grade hydrogen peroxide. And now, I'm not joking when I say this stuff smells like bleach. It does. But the shrimp the dog makes some weird noises sometimes. That's probably what Jaden heard earlier too.
Yeah, well, that scared the crap out of me. What is he doing? What did he
I don't know.
hit?
It's just the fluval stand right here.
It scared me.
But the hydrogen peroxide smells like bleach. It might ruin your aqua soil if that's in the aquarium, but it's the only thing that kills Cladophora and doesn't kill off your fish and shrimp and does its job. So yeah, I would start with the three things that Shelby listed first, but if it doesn't go away, you might have to man up and not man up.
What's wrong
Pay
with
up
you?
and get the
Man up. Get your hydrogen peroxide.
pay up is not the word I was looking for either, but I can't think of the word.
You'd have
Ante
to
up.
sacrifice your soil. Yeah, it's most of the time you can combat it with the regular. If you want to get rid of it altogether and never have it come back, you have to treat it like Grant was saying.
Adding Amanos to the aquarium, they might compete with the nutrients that is feeding the algae, and they might eat some of the algae as it starts to die off and stuff like that. But if it's actually a good, like strong growing Cladophora, the algae shrimp won't do anything. The Amanos, the red nose Pinocchios, they won't do it.
Yeah. I would say that if you do add Amanos, the only difference is that Amanos can compete with some of the smaller dwarf shrimp. So feeding more, and then that in case the Amano don't want to eat the algae. So it becomes an issue, but it doesn't hurt to try. Like if it works, it works. You know, they might be able to help combat it.
I think that's all we got for the week. I think we covered pretty much everything. Tomorrow, I hope to have a bunch of the tubs running with the air pump that I just got, and yeah, if anybody has any questions or needs anything and wants to reach out to us, we've got plenty of free time. Reefapalooza this weekend though, so
Where do we have free time?
free time to catch up and help people on their projects and stuff
They can
like
message
that.
us.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I'm saying.
Can answer.
Yeah.
Free
I'm back.
time.
I'm
That's
back
not
to
fair.
having ample amount of time to deal with customer service and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll give you a list of things to do then. That's what I heard. Thank you, everyone that joined us tonight. Thank you for answering my poll. I tried making one last week, but apparently I didn't make it because this is the first time I'm actually seeing it on the screen. So I appreciate everyone who answered that tonight. Thank you again, Justin Clemente, Volpes, and Moises. I hope I'm saying that right. It might just be Moses.
Osmosis.
Yeah, thank you so much for donating and being here. We appreciate all your questions and all your awesome comments. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys have a wonderful night.
Later, everyone. Take care.